So this is the second time now that a FromSoft game ruined other games for me, and that's because I only played 2 of them. When Sekiro came out, it quickly had its grips on me, and beating it left me with a deep void in the shape of a... None of the games I played afterwards had, or if they did, it wasn't quite as thingy as it should have been, and to this day I'm still searching for something as potent in triggering my endorphins as Sekiro's combat. The next game that really tickled my balls was Elden Ring. It's been a while now since Elden Ring came out, and I've played a fair bit of games since, and I keep just comparing everything to this one dumb, stupid, idiot game. Even if it has nothing to do with the style or Souls-like formula, I keep fucking thinking about how, oh, they wouldn't have this in Elden Ring. If this was Elden Ring, I could do that. This linear game that came out 15 years ago can't hold a candle to Elden Ring in terms of open world traversal. So the thing I'm talking about is how Elden Ring utilizes the geometry of the world, or rather how it puts very little restriction on how you can interact with it. This is something that I naturally just had set expectations for before. Like playing a game, I just know it's a game. The world is fake, that wall is not really a wall, it's like code or some shit, and naturally, without even really being conscious about it, I don't expect to be able to climb it. It's just there as decoration to help sell the idea that the world is somewhat real as long as you don't try to fuck with it too much. Well, Elden Ring took that philosophy and rethought it from the ground up. It made me rethink how I approach games. It implanted the idea in my head that I should actually be able to hop on that ledge even if it leads nowhere, or that I should analyze the world like I would in reality, where every object is interactable, and if it looks like I can jump on it or walk through it, I should be able to do so. Unlike what I was used to previously, which is just subconsciously ignoring everything that doesn't look like someone intended me to use it. I would normally just assume that a little ridge protruding from the wall is actually not a real ridge that I can stand on, but they're just for aesthetic purposes. And it's these guys' first ever foray into open world design. Maybe that's exactly why they didn't do it like everybody else. For a game so visually inspired by medieval Europe, the studio keeps going against the grain of Western game philosophies, and let's be honest, the meta of Western game design has been stale and stinky for about a decade now. The game has key areas that you can only reach by going across unmarked geometry. It is mind-blowing how rare this is in games. I don't know where to go unless I have a trail of white rags to follow. There's holes you can go through, walls you can jump up that never explicitly tell you to do so. The simple freedom to do that instantly makes you observe the world in a different light. It makes you pay more attention to the geometry of it and appreciate the brilliant subtleties of its design. It unlocks lots of potential horse parkour lines you otherwise wouldn't have even looked for. I love how they just fucked around and gave your horse a double jump. I mean, these cheeky cocksuckers didn't even let you single jump up until a few years ago, and now you can just climb the outer edges of some random tower on your horse. They weren't worried that you might use it to break this gigantic open world and go where you're not supposed to, but we all know that is one thing that gamers do not stand for. And if that is not true, then explain why the invisible wall industry is booming. You think those things are cheap to install? Anyways, corniest joke I've ever made aside, I've been annoyed at this in no game I've ever played before and every single game I've played since Elden Ring. But by far the worst offender, and a game that pissed me off enough to make this silly little video about it, is Nier Automata. Okay, exploration is not really why you play this game unless you like collecting useless rusty screws. You play it to get extremely horny. Primarily. And thank God they put just a ridiculous amount of ass in the animations, because anything less would not have been enough to mitigate the frustration of its endless invisible walls. You would not be seeing Skillup out here fawning over this game without the android cheeks, I guarantee you that. So you have these crumbling buildings with floors just wide open, but not only can you not go in, you also can go in sometimes. It's not even like there's anything remotely interesting inside. It's just nothing but empty floors in the buildings you can enter, so I'm not sure why they didn't just make every obviously big enough hole to walk through walk-throughable. Now don't get me wrong, I understand why most games need markers to tell you where to go. It's because most games suck!